Hi players, bonjour from Paris, my name is Asaf and welcome to my channel Easy Board Games. Today I'm going to show how to play Rurik Dawn of Kiev. As always, if you learned something new or if you saw something that you like, please consider subscribing to my channel and help me grow this amazing community. When we will reach our next milestone of 500 subscribers, I'm going to have a super sweet free giveaway for you guys. Like and comment on the video, let me know what did you think about the video and also which other games you would like to see on this channel. Ready to be the leader that will inherit Vladimir the Great? Slava Ukraini, let's go to setup. Alright guys, so after we have put the board at the center of the table, we'll need to see how many players we have. Because with 2 players we're only going to use the green regions, with 3 players we're going to add the yellow regions, and if we're having a full table we're going to add the brown regions also. Then on the sides of the board we'll need to put the strategy board and the claim board. Pay attention that you're using the right side of the strategy board that is marked how many players are in this game. As you can see, we're having here a 2-player game, so we're going to use this side of the strategy board. Then we're going to add all the different resources and the coins next to the board, and that will be considered as the supply. Then each player is going to receive a household mat that is going to be on the vertical side. Then each player is going to receive 3 coins that they will be able to put on the dock. In each region that is going to participate in this game, so again this is going to be the green regions, we're going to put 1 random rebel miniatures and the 1 good that correspond to that region. And it's important that it's going to be random because on the bottom side of each rebel miniatures we're going to have a specific resource that we're going to see a little bit later on. Also for each region we're going to put the corresponding resource on it. So here for example we have stone, we're going to put 1 stone and right next to it the rebel miniature. Then we're going to take all the scheme cards, we're going to shuffle them, as always it's the best shuffle you'll see in YouTube. We're going to split them pretty much into 2 as equal as we can get decks, and we're going to put them next to the strategy board. Between these 2 decks we're going to leave space in the middle for a discard pile. Then we're going to take the deed cards, we're going to give them a good shuffle, and we're going to place this deck right next to the claim board. From this we're going to open 3 cards. Next, each player is going to choose one of the leaders that are available in this game. We can either let the players choose which leader they would like to play, or we can just give it to them randomly. So I have chosen for Mr. Shwet over here Maria, and for me I've chosen Yaroslav. With these cards, each player is going to take the beautifully painted miniature that we have over here, and each player will also take one of these reference sheets. Then we're going to take the agenda cards, give them a good shuffle, and each player will now receive 2 of those agenda cards. Now the players can take a look at these cards, and each player will decide which one they would like to leave with them and which other card we can put back in the box. Then each player will take all the components in their color. So we have here some soldiers, some different buildings, the advisors, whatever you can see right now that is on the table. Now also it will be a good time to put the leader base to the leader itself. Now each player will take their 3 claim markers and will put them on the claim board. 1 for rule, build and trade. And also each player will put their warfare marker below the warfare track of the claim board. Then we'll put the round marker on round number 1. Also, as you can see over here, each player will now put their advisor number 2 and 3 in their corresponding places. Pay attention that if you're playing a 4-player game, we will not use advisor number 3 and we can put it back in the box. Now we're going to determine who's going to be the first player. So here in the rulebook they're saying who knows the most about the history of Eastern Europe. Since in my case it's obviously Mr. Shwet and not me, he's going to receive the first player marker. The next step will start with the first player and will go clockwise. Players will place 1 of their troop miniatures in a region of their choice. This is going to continue until each player has placed 3 of their soldier miniatures. Pay attention that each player will be able to put their soldier miniature in any territory. Doesn't matter if he already has one of his soldiers in that miniature or an opponent soldier. So just for a quick example, Now we're going to do the same thing with a leader miniature, but pay attention that each player will put their leader miniature in an area that already contains at least one of his soldiers. So Mr. Shwet is going to put over here, and I'm going to put Yaroslav over here. In Rurik Dawn of Kiev, we're going to have 4 turns, as you already saw in the setup, and each turn is going to have 3 phases. The first one is the strategy phase, where the different players are going to take turns in putting their advisors on the strategy board. Then the second phase is the action phase, where players will now execute everything that they have planned on the strategy phase with a certain order. The third phase is the claim phase, where the players, if they have met the right criteria, going to advance their claim tokens on the different claim tracks. Then we're going to earn some income, we're going to choose a deed card, then we're going to refresh the conversion tokens that we'll talk about a little bit later, we're going to replenish the goods that we have on the different territories, and we're going to continue to the next round. At the end of the 4th turn, we're going to finish the game, and then we're going to count the points. That will include the points from the claim tracks, from the warfare track, from the agenda cards, and from the deed cards. The player with the most points will be the winner and will be declared as the heir of Vladimir the Great. In the strategy phase, starting with the first player, we're going to take turns in putting our different advisors on the strategy board. For now, we're going to start only with 4 advisors, but as you already understood, later on the 3rd and on the 4th turn, we're going to have 2 more advisors that are going to join in. This is a super interesting mechanic in the game because we're going to have here a little bit power versus initiative. So basically, what you see over here, the numbers on the different advisors, is the different power that they're going to have. The highest the number, the more powerful is that advisor. But when we're going to start resolving the actions, we're going to start with the lowest number of the advisors. When I'm placing an advisor, so let's take for example advisor number 4 over here of Mr. Shwet, we're going to choose where we're going to put it. We're going to talk about the different actions just in a little bit, but let's say for example that Mr. Shwet really want to muster some soldiers. As you can already guess, I'm assuming it's just to recruit more soldiers to the map. He's going to put his number 4 advisor over here. Then, if I would like to also muster some units, I will need to put one of my advisors. Obviously, if I have a column that I haven't put an advisor in, I will not be able to take the different actions in the action phase. If I'm going to put an advisor with an equal number or lower than the advisor that is already in that column, I will put it in a position below that specific advisor. And that means that advisor 1, 2, and 4 will come to this position. But since I have a more powerful advisor, number 5, if I'm going to put this advisor in this column, I'm going to push down the advisor of the opponent player, and I'm going to put my advisor in the first row. Obviously, as you can see, the higher position of that specific advisor will allow me to do this action in a more powerful way. So for example, here I will be able to recruit 3 troops as opposed to Mr. Shwet, the yellow player, who will be able to recruit only 2. Now if Mr. Shwet, for example, would like to add another advisor to this column of the master, he will not be able to do so unless he already has advisors in 3 or more different columns. So let's say that he will be able to put here another advisor only after, for example, he's going to have one advisor over here and one over here. Only then he will be able to add a second advisor to that specific column. Another interesting option that we have here is called adding bribes. So if, for example, I have some money to spare, I would like to take this position of the recruiting 3 soldiers, but maybe I don't have advisor number 5 because I already spent him for something, or maybe I would like to also resolve this action before Mr. Shwet, the yellow player, is going to resolve his advisor. What I can do is to add coins, and each coin will actually give me 1 more power to that advisor. So for example, Mr. Shuet has here number 4. I'm going to put advisor number 2, but also I'm going to pay 3 coins as a bribe in order to increase his power from 2 to 5, because it's going to be 1 power per coin. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push down the advisor of Mr. Shuet. I'm going to put mine over here because right now we have 2 plus 3, that is 5 power. For now, we're going to leave the coins right next to the advisor so we will not forget how it goes. Another advantage besides pushing down the other advisor is that when we're going to have the action phase, we're actually going to get to resolve our advisor before Mr. Shuet, because number 2 will still have priority with the initiative on number 4. In the action phase, just like I explained before, the different players will take turns starting from the first player in resolving the different advisors, starting of course from the lowest number. So the yellow player will start with number 1, then I'm going to do number 1, then yellow player number 2, and so on. So I think now it will be an excellent time to talk about the different actions that we have over here. So me, for example, I will be able to spend maximum until 3 points of master. Of course, if I would like to use less, that is totally okay. And each master point will allow me to recruit 1 troop, taking it from our supply and placing it in a region where we already have at least 1 troop. The move action allows us to spend any number of movement points. So again, Mr. Shuet over here, for example, has 3 movement points. And each point will allow us to move 1 of our troops 1 space. So for example, if Mr. Shuet is doing it and he has 3, he can move, for example, 1 of his units 1 adjacent space. Of course, you can spend several points in order to move the same unit a few times. So if, for example, he would like to move this unit over here to this region, he will be able to spend all of the 3 points in order to do 1, 2, and 3. Pay attention that even if you're moving to a region where you have an enemy unit, this is not going to automatically trigger combat. With the attack action, we'll be able to spend any number of attack points as described with the number of swords. So over here it's going to be 2, for example. And each attack point will allow us to attack either the rebels or an opponent if they occupy a region where you have at least 1 troop. We're going to talk a little bit more about the combat itself a little bit later down the video. Before I'm going to continue to the next action, which is tax, let's talk about an important concept that we have over here, and that is called ruling a region. In order to rule a region, we need to have more troops in that region than each other player, of course compared separately. Also, we must have more troops in that region than the rebels. If we have a tie, nobody's ruling that region. So as you can see right now on the map, we have the blue player ruling this region and the yellow player is ruling this region. But in these 3 regions, we basically have a tie. So in these 3 regions, we don't have basically someone who rules. With the tax action, we have here, as we already understood, 2 tax points. We'll be able to take resources from the different region. Now, it's going to cost us 1 tax point to collect a good from a region that we rule. But if there is a region that we do not rule, it will cost us 2 tax points. So Mr. Shuet, for example, for his 2 tax points, will be able to either collect a resource from this region or this one, because he does not rule these regions, or he can spend 1 tax point in order to collect from this region right over here, since he's ruling it. When we collect goods, we can just take it from that specific region and then put it on our household mat in 2 locations, either in the specific location on the boat. So for example, if we have this resource, we're going to put it right over here, or we can stock it on the dock, and we don't have a limit of how many resources we can have on the dock. At any point of time, we can take resources from the dock and put it on the boat, and vice versa. With the build action, so here for example, we're going to have 2 build points. We'll be able, how obvious, to build the different buildings that we have. Pay attention that building buildings doesn't cost you anything besides building points, so no coins or wood or stone or something like that. Every time we would like to build in a region that we rule, it's going to cost us only 1 build point. But if we would like to build in a region that we don't rule, it's going to cost us 2 2 build points. Obviously, it has to be in a region that we occupy. Pay attention that each region may only contain one structure of each of the 3 types, and it doesn't matter which player has built them. So for example, if the yellow player has a stronghold over here, the blue player will not be able to build another stronghold in the same region. So let's talk about their effects a little bit. When we're building a church, we'll be able actually to convert an opponent, either a rebel or the opponent of the other color, to our soldier. So if the yellow player has built over here a church, he will be able to sort of convert this rebel unit to one of his soldiers. So he's going to put this rebel back in the box, and we're going to take one of the yellow player soldiers and put it over here. We haven't talked about it yet, but pay attention that when you're doing this kind of thing with the church and a rebel player, we'll not be able to take the bonus that is stated on the bottom part of it. It's true we haven't talked about it yet, but we will see it when we'll talk about the combat itself. Also pay attention that this is only a one-time effect. So once I've built a church over here, it does that conversion, but it stops there. If we're building a market, then when we're going to do the text action, we will actually gain another resource of the same type in that region. So if, for example, this is the situation and the yellow player has decided to do the text action over here in this region, he will take 2 of these stones to his possession. The other option is to just take the 1 resource and to take 1 coin. So either 2 stone or 1 stone and 1 coin. Obviously, if we don't have already that resource in that region, we will not be able to tax that specific region and then using, for example, the market ability. The last optional building is the stronghold. So first of all, the stronghold counts as one of your troops for the purposes of determining who is ruling that region. So if the yellow player would have built this stronghold over here, then right now he's ruling this region because the count will be 2 for the yellow player and only 1 rebel and 1 soldier of the blue player. Also, when any opponent attacks you in that region, they must reveal 1 extra scheme card to check for a casualty. Again, we haven't talked about it yet, but we will see it later when we'll talk about the combat. The next action is the scheme. So when we're resolving an advisor in this column, we're going to take the number of scheme cards that marked over here. So for example, this is 3, 2, or 1 from a specific deck. For example, 1, 2, 3. Then we're going to choose one of them that we'll talk about soon enough. We're going to keep that card in our hand. And then the 2 other cards we're going to put at the top of the same deck facing down. Also, the advisor that is being resolved in the top position of the scheme column will take the first player token and will decide who to give it to, including himself. So if, for example, if I resolve with my advisor this action right over here, I can take this and decide if in the next turn I will be the first player or it's going to be kept with Mr. Schwed. If no player has put an advisor in the scheme column, then the first player token will stay with the same player. Sometimes we'll put our advisors in a specific place that will cost us actually 1 coin to play that action. So for example, just like we have the blue player's advisor right over there, if he would like to execute this action, it will cost him 1 coin. When you can't or when you don't want to perform any action, it's going to be called forfeited action, and you can receive for it 1 coin from the supply. So if, for example, as you can see, the blue player does not have any more coins, and now it's his turn to resolve this action, he cannot do it obviously because he does not have any coins, then this action will be considered as a forfeited action, and the blue player will receive 1 coin. When we attack rebels, so let's take this region for example, we're going to remove 1 rebel from that region and place it next to our household mat. You gain the reward that is indicated by the sticker on the bottom part of the miniature. So again, for example, if I decide to attack over here, I'm just going to take this rebel, going to put him next to my household mat. But before that, I'm going to see what is the resource that I have on the bottom part. In this case, it's 1 wood. So I'm going to take 1 wood from the supply and put it in my possession, again, either on the boat itself or on the dock. When you attack an opponent, that opponent must remove one of their troops from that region. Of course, when we're talking about the unit, this can also be the leader, but in this case, the leader must be the last troop in the region to be removed. Then we're going to advance our warfare marker up 1 space on the warfare track, and then we actually need to check for casualty. Pay attention that we're not going to check for casualty when we're attacking the rebels. What does it mean to check for casualty? It means that we need to reveal a number of cards from a single scheme deck. By default, we will take only 1 scheme card. If the opponent is the person that is ruling that region, we're going to take 1 extra scheme card. And also we're going to take 1 more card if the opponent has a stronghold in this region. So just to make sure that everything is understood, let's say for example that this is the situation and we have the blue player attacking the yellow player. So of course the yellow player will need to remove 1 of his soldiers, but the blue player will have to draw 3 scheme cards to check for casualties. 1 because that's the default, a 2nd card because the yellow player is the one who's ruling this region, and a 3rd one because the yellow player has here a stronghold. When we're drawing from the scheme deck to see if we have casualties, basically we're looking for this sign that we have over here. So we're going to ignore the signs that we have in this part of the card. When we're revealing a card with this sign, we can stop, and then we know that we have 1 casualty. So back to our situation over here, I'm drawing the first card, we see that we have nothing over here. Then we're going to draw a 2nd card, so we do see that we have here a casualty, so we can stop drawing cards, we don't need to draw the 3rd card. And I know that the blue player has now 1 casualty, taking it back to its supply of soldiers. Then we can just take all these cards and put them in the discard pile. When we're going to resolve our different advisors, resolving an advisor will be considered as the main action. But before and or after taking the main action with resolving an advisor, we can also do something that is called a bonus action. And that is playing schemes, accomplishing deeds, or converting goods. The thing is that we can take each type of these bonus actions only once per turn. So for example, before resolving an advisor, we can convert goods, then resolve the main action itself, and then after that we can accomplish a deed. So what do we have here in the scheme cards? Basically we have here some actions that we can take as a bonus, and as you remember, playing a scheme card is something that I can do as a bonus action before and or after I'm resolving one of my advisors. And we have here the things that we saw already in the actions. So here, for example, this is the exception. I can choose one of the deeds and receive 1 coin. Here I'm going to pay 1 coin if I would like in order to receive 2 tax points. Here I'm receiving 1 tax point and 1 coin, and so on. On top of that, if we're having a scheme card that is giving me a bonus towards build points, we can combine that build point with the other build points that we have with resolving the advisor, which is the main phase. When we want to accomplish deed cards, first of all, it's important that we understand that a deed card we can accomplish only if it's already in our hand. So we cannot accomplish one of the deed cards that are now facing up in this area. First of all, we will need to have 1 card in our hand, and then as a bonus action, we'll be able to accomplish a deed. When we're accomplishing a deed, basically we just need to meet the conditions that we have at the top part of the card, and then we immediately receive the bonus that we have at the bottom part of the card. Also, when we accomplish it, we're going to immediately put it over here, tucked down under our household mat, just like this. And this is something that is going to play towards the end of the game when we will calculate the points. So with this card, for example, if I have these three buildings in one region, as it's stated on the card, so one church, one market, and one stronghold. Then, as a bonus action, I can accomplish this deed card. I'm going to receive one tax point, and I'm going to put it right over here, as I showed before. Also, as a bonus action, we'll be able to convert some goods, and that basically means that we're paying some goods in order to receive something towards our actions. In this case, for example, in this token, we're going to either convert one wood or one stone plus one of any resources in order to get one more build point. After we have done that, we're just going to turn this token around and it will be renewed after the claim phase. In the claim phase, we're going to have 6 steps. First of all, we will advance on the claim tracks if we have made the right conditions. So we're going to check according to what we have over here. If, for example, at the beginning of the claim phase, we have the blue player, for example, controlling now 2 regions, as we can see over here, then he's going to advance his marker 1 step forward. Here in the middle, we're going to advance if we have the right amount of buildings in adjacent regions. So, for example, the yellow player will advance if, for example, he has something like this. Ignore for now the rule or if we control this region or not. But we have 2 regions with buildings that are adjacent to each other. So the yellow player is going to advance 1 time. And here in the trade column, we're going to advance if we have the right amount of goods on the boat. So for example, if the yellow player would have had 3 goods on the boat, doesn't matter which ones, he would be able to advance 1 step ahead. Pay attention that you will never go down with your token, even if you're not meeting the right criteria in the next turn. The second step will be to earn income, and then if we meet the criteria in this column of goods, we're going to earn 1 coin. So if, for example, I have here 2 stone at this part of this phase, I'm going to earn 1 coin. Also, we're going to earn 1 coin for each claim and warfare marker that the player have not yet placed on the claim board. So here, for example, we're going to see that the blue player did not move 2 of his claim tokens, so that means the blue player will take 2 coins from the supply in his possession, and the yellow player will gain 3 coins, so 2 for the claim markers and 1 for the warfare token. Basically, for each token in the 0 position, we're going to receive 1 coin. The third step is to choose deed cards, so starting with the first player, he's going to choose one of these deed cards. Then after he has chosen, he's going to put it face up next to his household mat, and immediately it's going to be replaced by a new card. Then the next player will do the same thing. The fourth step will be to refresh the conversion tokens and to replenish goods. So if, for example, we don't have these 2 resources here, we're just going to take from the supply new resources and we're going to put them in their regions. The 6th and final step will be to advance the turn marker 1 step ahead. Obviously, as we're going to push it to the 3rd round, both players will have another advisor with number 2 on them, and at the 4th round, each player is going to take the advisor with the number 3 on it. At the end of the 4th round, we're just going to calculate all the points to see who is going to be declared as the winner. So first of all, we're going to look at the claim tracks. So if we have the blue player reaching this position and the yellow player this position, just for the example, then the blue player has 8 points and the yellow player has 5 points. The player that is most advanced on the warfare track will score 3 points and second place will take 1 point. If we have 2 players tied for first place, then both of them are going to take 3 points, but then number 2 will not be scored at all. And if we have 2 players tied for second place, both of them are going to take 1 point. Obviously, this is a 2-player game, so it's not so important for us, but if you have a higher player count, then we're going to score points for the agenda card if we have completed our agenda until the end of the game. So each card is worth 2 victory points, and then we're going to calculate all the points from the accomplished deed cards. If after calculating all the points we have a situation of a tie, then the player who's controlling more regions will be declared as the winner. If again we have a tie, then the player with the most coins will be declared as the winner. And if again we're going to have a tie, then I don't know what to tell you guys. I'm guessing those players will just going to go to Kiev, have a drink, because this is an awesome city. Slava Ukraini! Thank you for watching. So guys, let's quickly do one action phase to see really how it goes. Starting with the first player, the yellow player, he's going to resolve the advisor number 1 that he has over here, and this advisor has 2 attack points. The yellow player decides to attack this barbarian right over here, so he's going to put it next to his household mat, but before that he's going to take 1 stone as a bonus. So he's going to put it directly on his ship. After that, the yellow player can take this advisor and put it back right over here. Then the blue player has 2 build points with the first advisor. So here is going to kick in the special ability of Yaroslav, which says in Yaroslav region you win ties for rule and your opponent loses the ability of their structures, which is pretty cool. So for this 2 points, I would like to build 1 stronghold over here in this region, and I would like to have a market in this region, taking the first advisor and putting him back in place. Then we're going to have Mr. Shwet, second advisor over here, so he has 2 tax points. So as a reminder, in a region that you don't rule, it's going to cost you 2 tax points in order to claim a good. So Mr. Shwet is going to, the yellow player is going to do it right over here. He's going to spend his 2 tax points in order to take this good and put it on his boat. And now it's the blue player turn again. And as you can see over here, we're going to take these 3 coins and put it back in the supply. And we're going to resolve this one right over here. And that means muster 3 soldiers. So we're going to take these 3 soldiers and we're going to put 1 over here, another 1 over here, and 1 over here, resolving this action. So I'm putting back him right over here. Now it's Mr. Shwet's turn, so he would like to actually do something a little bit different. He would like, as a bonus action, first of all, to do a conversion. So he needs to pay 1 stone and 1 any other resource, which can be this. So they're going to go back to the supply. And for that, he's actually gaining 1 build point. So first of all, we're going to turn this token to the other side. So with this build point, he would like to build a church right over here. And he's going to convert this rebel into one of his soldiers. So I'm just reminding you, since it was not won by combat, we're not going to take the resource that was down. And now moving on to his next advisor, which is over here. So he can muster 2 soldiers. So now we have Maria's, the leader of the yellow player, special ability. And it says that once per round, when you muster troops, you may place them in a single region adjacent to Maria's region that you do not occupy. So we're going to take 2 troops over here. Maria is this one right over here. So we're going to take these 2 soldiers and put them in a region adjacent. So that meets all the conditions. We can take number 4 advisor and put it right over here. Now, my number 4 advisor, and as you can see, I don't have here any more coins, so this is going to be a forfeited action, and that means that I'm going to take 1 coin and put it in my possession. After that, I can take number 4 and put him back, and then it's going to be the yellow player, so he can move up to 3 times with units. So he's going to move 1 unit over here, and then another unit over here, and he's going to forfeit the last movement point. As you remember, I don't have to use all of them. And then it's going to be the next one, the next advisor, so it's going to be the blue player number 5. So it's going to be over here. Since he's the only one, he's going to have this. So he's going to take the first player marker and deciding who he would like to give it to. So the blue player would like to be the first player in the next round. He's going to take it to his possession. And now he can take 3 of these scheme cards, take a look at them, and actually put 1 of them in his possession. So he would like to actually take this card right over here, and the 2 others he's going to put back to the same deck. If he would like, of course, right now to use this card. It's totally legit because this is a bonus action. So he's going to receive 1 coin if he will decide to use this card, 1 coin and 1 build point. So he would like actually to use this card. So what we will do right now is going to discard this card, going to take 1 metal coin and put in his possession. And also for the build thing, we're going to, let's see, build a church right over here, and again converting this rebel to one of his soldiers. After that, he's going to take the advisor number 5 to his possession, and that's it. We finished the action phase.